Yeah, for real. Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Stella would say, uh-oh. All right. We're gonna start off the show. I've got I've got a lot of feedback actually, but Matt, since you are here, I will give you your feedback from this person. So this person is a non-beer drinker,
Okay.
but you have them thinking about getting more interested in beer. So it says, not sure it is something I want to spend my time on now, but I'm one of those that thinks all beer tastes the same. You, Matt, has shown me that I could be more aware of the nuances and appreciate what is actually happening in my glass. Or I could stick with seltzers. Time will tell.
All right. All right.
Yeah, I thought you would like to hear that feedback because I mean you bring the beer knowledge pretty much every episode. We get into at least something about beer.
Yeah, I like to share. I like to share the wealth and share the knowledge. Yeah. Um,
When do you think you got when do you think you started getting to the point where you could just like rattle off beer things like you can baseball things? Yeah, like be that comfortable.
Probably a couple years after I graduated college. It took a little practice.
Yeah. But you were like learning about that stuff in college, so
Yeah.
you were already like really interested in
Yeah. I started getting. I bought a lot of textbooks actually. Um, Nerd alert. But yeah, learned a lot of the science behind it.
nerd work. uh, so good.
Um, I got to run really quick.
Oh, all
I don't
right.
know if you want to pause the recording or not, or
Nah, I
um,
got. I'll take this solo.
actually, I can keep it going. I can keep it going.
No, no, I got it. You do what you got to do, Mister Root, and I will handle this solo. This is the content people love.
Well, we'll see. There's a chance I might have to go grab something. So
um, well, if you're gonna be here, I was gonna ask you to start sharing a little bit about like you and Ethan drink all of the what are they called? Like
New England IPAs or
no, like the collaborations like between breweries and things like that.
collaborations. Yeah,
Yeah, like why is that such a big thing? Like that's the one I'm drinking tonight.
Um, I mean, some of it is literally just people like having beers together. But a lot and there's a lot of different interesting friendships among the beer community. Whether it's people who meet at festivals or people who just admire beer that other people drink or brew. But there's also a lot of, I mean, everyone's got their kind of quirks or things they do special in their own brews. And, you know, it's a fun way to share knowledge. It's a fun way to kind of combine the best aspects of both your brews and in the case of the beer you're drinking, the Parish Brewing collab with Other Half. I mean, Parish and Other Half are both really well known for their hazy IPAs. Parish really only has four or five though that they're really well known for. The big one is called Ghost in the Machine, and Other Half just does a ton that everyone loves. So the Other Half really respects them. They invite them every year to their big IPA festival called Green City, and decided, hey, when you're up here, you guys are cool guys, we like you. Let's hang out and brew together one day and see what we can come
Yeah.
up with together and put the best of both worlds. Some of the other things that Other Half started doing, which was kind of unique to them, and it spread among other brewers too, is they did something called Freaky Friday, where they would actually just trade recipes, and they would say, all right, hey, Parish, we're going to brew, like, you send us a recipe for Ghost in the Machine, we're going to brew it in our equipment and see how we can make it. We'll send you
Okay.
one of our famous ones, you brew it on your equipment and see how it comes out. Because there's a lot of stuff that's different to where you're located as well, whether it's the local water chemistry or the equipment that you have can kind of affect your final outcome as well. So
Yeah, so I was gonna so like are the head brewmasters literally getting together in the same room and like making the beer, or like how does
A lot of times, no, a lot of people did digital collaborations during COVID, but a lot of times, yeah, they're all together around the brew kettle, hanging out, just relaxing with each other, and everyone's literally got a hand in it, from adding the ingredients to mixing the brew. Like they're all hanging out in the brewery together. It's usually everyone
Nice.
together collectively.
Nice. Even if they're not like in the same city, like they
Yeah,
get
yeah.
together.
So a lot of times they usually happen around festivals when everyone's coming together, or if sometimes it's just, hey, I'm from X brewery in Philadelphia and I'm going to Boston this weekend. Let me call up a Boston brewery I like and see if they want to do something. Usually it takes a little bit more time than that, though, because if you are doing a collaboration, you got to plan on ingredients. You got to plan on, if you're going to can it, you actually have to get labels. Every single label that goes on a beer can that's interstate, that's going to be distributed in more than one state,
Right.
has to be approved by the federal government. So interesting fact, one of the things you'll see during government shutdowns is if breweries don't have a lot of their labels approved, if they're not really far ahead in their planning process, they may not be able to release their beer in cans and sell it outside the state. There was a good example of a brewery in Kentucky called Braxton Brewing that at the very beginning of the shutdown, the most recent big shutdown that we had, was releasing Kentucky only IPAs because they couldn't legally actually sell it outside the state of Kentucky. So interesting little tidbits like that. But
yeah,
we've
all
got
the details.
We've got our guests in the room now.
Yeah, and if you're watching on YouTube, you saw that the Schlubina just beat the schlub into the meeting, or into the call today, and so we have our schlub. He is here, even though he hasn't said anything. So say hi, Ethan.
Hi, Ethan. I'm so funny. Nobody's ever made that joke before. This is brand new on this podcast. It's gonna launch us into the next level.
That's the cutting edge content people come for.
Exactly. This and the beer stuff, the beer trivia you were just talking about. You know, we nailed it.
We want Hannah to come back every single time. You have to like do something where she's like, "Why am I wasting my time here?"
She knows what she's into. She's been here like 3-4 times now. She knows what she's gotten herself into.
I can't think of a better way to use my time, and I'm so happy that I entered, of course, unsurprisingly, during a beer conversation, beer rant.
Hannah, how was the Dominican? That's where you were, right?
Yeah, it was fun. I was painfully reminded of how bad of a dancer I am going to a Dominican wedding. But I'm now surprising my dad for his birthday tomorrow, so I'm coming to you guys from my childhood bedroom, if you can't tell from all
Look
these
at all those awards.
Nice.
Accolades. It's incredible. Hop onto YouTube if you're listening right now.
When you're an only child, nothing gets thrown away, I guess. So but yes, and crazy to think that the last time I was on here, I was a member of the Washington football team, and now I am a commander. So a lot has happened since my last appearance.
Yeah, seriously. So the last time you were on then had to be, it was New Year, so it was 2022, but it was pre the unveiling, so it had to be in January sometime.
Exactly. Yeah. It's finally out of the bag. No more secrets.
How long did you know? Can you tell us that now?
Again, if I told you, I have to kill you.
No,
I never knew.
no.
I found out with all the rest of my colleagues on reveal day.
Fair enough. Well, Hannah, you are here as the resident expert on what's going on in WoSpo, and I mean, there's been a lot, and just some like great hires with women in sports. There's I know you were waiting forever probably for the National Women's Soccer League schedule to come out, and I think that finally dropped last week while you were away. But I mean, take us down whatever road you want to start with, and let's get the updates.
My God, there's so many roads. Like there's the Brittany Griner detained in Russia road.
Yeah.
Which honestly, if we're just talking about women's sports, it gets this larger discussion of like the reason she's going to Russia is because that's how she can make all this money. And maybe
Yeah.
if we invested in women's sports here, women's basketball, expanded beyond 12 WNBA teams, which is just wild considering how much talent there is in the college game. And beyond, like, if we could be paying her that salary in the US, maybe she wouldn't have to go to Russia. There's Ash Barty retiring
World number one. Yeah, holy cow, going out on top.
At 25.
25, yeah.
I know. It's interesting. Like I know she had like a spout of burnout when she was like 13, 14, stepped away from the game, actually went and played professional cricket for a while, and then came back to tennis. So I think, you have to wonder. She seems like she just doesn't have it in her anymore. She said it's not there for her emotionally, and that she's really excited about like Ash Barty, the human, and these next phases of her life. And I know that she recently got married. So yeah, but I think an announcement that shocked everyone. There's just been a lot going on. We have WNBA season on the horizon. We have women's NWSL on the horizon. Angel City and San Diego Wave, they played the first, National Women's Soccer League game in California this past week, which is like the start of a new era. Women's March Madness. I just saw some stats, some ratings, numbers coming in from ESPN, which said there's a good uptick from last year. And I think we're seeing, one of the big complaints always with the women's tournament was like there's not as many upsets. And of course, like the men's product is something that is, it's just, and you look at St. Peter's, you look at like, it's certainly bananas, the men's product, but we're seeing more upsets on the women's side. There's more parity, that talent's being distributed beyond the UConns and the Stanfords and everything. So that's
the best player in college basketball didn't even make it to the Sweet 16, Caitlin Clark. So
exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. So that's really cool. Lots of cool things happening. I might become a season ticket member for the first time in my life. I'm deciding whether I should make that Washington Spirit decision. Be cool to be a season ticket member and get to go to games more consistently, but we'll see.
Yeah. I was wondering, so with that retirement announcement today, it was making me think, and I literally just had this conversation with a coach yesterday about like how I just feel like athletes are going to be looking for some like non-traditional routes as they get into those stages where like you're supposed to play really competitive college sports, and then you're supposed to be like, okay, the next great athlete of the next 15 years or something like that. And I think we were talking, I was like, is the specialization of youth sports like really driving some of these great athletes to just say like, by the time they're 22 or 25, in this case, like, screw it. I've got 25 million in the bank. Yeah. I'm walking away. Like I've got a lot of other things I'm interested in. I don't need to do this for the next, 20, 40 years, like athletes in the past where they needed the money and, maybe they just didn't know how to do something else. Like, I think that's something that maybe is good about society these days, is like, we're encouraging people to maybe explore other things other than just their sport in this case. But I just wonder what you think about that in general, just maybe some non-traditional routes that you'd start to see these things more often, like Simone Biles pulling out maybe completely of the Olympics in the future, or something like that. Like I just wouldn't, it would be shocking, but I don't know that I'd be so surprised given some of the tea leaves that have already happened,
My thoughts are really, in hearing you talk about this, is like, it depends on the sport too, like with tennis and with gymnastics, at least with American women's gymnastics and the way it's been commercialized and everything, there's really a windfall of money for these younger folks like Ash Barty and Simone Biles if they do make it to the top of their sport. Whereas I listened to the podcast that Abby Wambach does with her wife, and she just talked about recently, like, Abby Wambach, best, one of the best women's soccer players ever. her retirement looks very different than Tom Brady's retirement. Of course, one of the best, and they're both. Well, Tom Brady's now coming out of retirement, but like with something like soccer, yeah, I don't think Abby Wambach could have retired earlier and felt comfortable, at least like financially in that way. But
Sure.
It's interesting to see with like I think you and I talked about like Trinity Rodman. She just signed like a big contract for NWSL, and seeing those multi-million dollar numbers coming in more and more for the younger players. Yeah, maybe it'll spread beyond I don't know what you'd call those sports like gymnastics and tennis. I don't necessarily think they fit under one neat umbrella, but yeah, certainly like earnings wise, they seem to be kind of in a category of their own potentially.
Yeah. That's a good point though, that it's got to be a sport where you're making that money early on,
right?
Whether you're an amateur or even at the professional level. But as you were talking about with Brittany Griner, like there's a reason that she was in Russia in the first place, even though she's one of the best basketball players, men's, women's, whatever, in the world. And she's got to make money while she's got the talent to do it, right?
Totally. And it's there's a wild ESPN 30 for 30 podcast on like what goes down or what has gone down in women's basketball in Russia, and like the oligarchs and the spies, and I don't know, the Sue Bird and Diana Taurasi talked about like they're just like wild time in Russia and making six figures and stuff. So maybe there's some lessons we can take from whatever they're doing over there. But yeah, lots of different things going on. What else haven't we touched on?
Well, okay, I got a question, and then I'll let if Ethan has or Matt have anything. Is there a women's soccer team in the DC area?
Yeah, Washington Spirit. So he wants to jump on that season ticket member train with me. We'll start him out with single game tickets. We'll try to find a good rivalry game for him to go to.
Yeah.
And then I'll show him the ropes.
The reason I was asking is I would love to. There's a team in Raleigh, right? A women's team in Raleigh.
Yeah, or NC Courage. Yeah, I think they're in Raleigh. They play in Cary.
Yeah. Okay, right outside of Raleigh. Whenever I'll take a look at the schedule, we got to get all together, because that's going to be much easier for me to get to Raleigh than it would be to get up to DC. But we all got to get together, go to a game, like just have some fun together and everything.
Does that mean Ethan and I road trip down there together?
Well, Matt could come down from, so what Matt and I did last time we went down to Charlotte is Matt came down from Philly area to me, and then we carpooled together. So Matt could come to us, then we all hop in the car, and then we all go. We could do that.
And Rudy's a road warrior. He will be 100% down.
A journey. Well, is Stella gonna come?
Yeah, if it's Raleigh, for sure, because then we can just stay at my parents, and that'll work. Let's see, what's Cary? I'm looking up the schedule right now. Ethan, okay. You can ask any questions.
I don't know that I have anything specific. So wait, but what is this right now? There's a Raleigh soccer team. Is that what we're talking about?
No, there's a Washington. Well, you should be going to Washington Spirit games.
That I caught. Yep.
They play at Audi Field, which is either in DC, obviously. That's where DC United plays. They also play out, not that you'd want to trek out there, but in Leesburg.
Actually, I love Leesburg. Have you been there yet? It's an adorable little town.
Well, it's a little bit farther than Ashburn, right? Well, Ashburn's where the football headquarters are for Washington, so I feel like I've been close to Leesburg.
Gotcha. Yeah. It's like, I think it's a little under an hour from me, maybe in Arlington, or maybe about an hour, but really cute little town if you're ever out there. But
I was just in Arlington actually watching the first time I've been to a hockey game, and it was a women's hockey game. And this is something Colin and I've talked about before. It's like women's sports fandom is so, I think, unique, because we just like support each other. Like at this women's hockey game, there was like people that I'd met at like US women's soccer games before. And so there's just this kind of like overlap. And even though like I didn't know anything about the sport, like I'm still going because I know exactly what that community and what those people in the bleachers are going to be like, which I think is pretty rare. But yes, in Arlington, after we went to the hockey game, we went to one of those places where you like crack the crab.
Oh
Like,
yeah. Uh-huh.
One of those
Cool.
DMV spots.
Yep.
Like,
Yep. Awesome.
Was a total rookie. Did not know how to get all the meat out, but maybe, you know, the first time, hopefully it can only go up from here.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. So wait, so what's happening in Raleigh though? I missed that.
They have a soccer team in Cary, right outside of Raleigh.
Oh, that's what it was.
And
Okay.
so I said
missed
when the
that.
DC team comes down
there, then we do that.
and Matt's gonna take his car, drive to you.
That
pick
yeah,
you
but
up,
I'm
then
the
you're
one
gonna
who
go pick up
suggested
Hannah.
that. I suggested that part. I remember that part. I just didn't catch what exactly was happening in
I
Raleigh.
was just putting it all together for you.
Yeah,
I just had to
thank
do
you.
it.
Yes,
So
very
when's
helpful.
the date, Colin?
I don't know. I can't figure it out. I'm technology challenged. These guys.
He's
know that.
he's a TI, technologically inept. So
He's got boomer energy.
Yeah, you guys
boomer
are
energy.
lucky. You guys are lucky the podcast gets up every week. So
Yeah, honestly, yeah, that's right. You're the one who runs all of that. So all right, so you're maybe not as inept as I thought. That's pretty good.
well, I can figure out what I need to, but like I don't know. On my phone, I just couldn't pull up like the schedule. I couldn't read it and everything. It was too much pressure.
It might just not be mobile friendly either. You know, not every certain things aren't mobile friendly, especially like big
True.
calendars. Yeah.
True.
I'll
I was
find
just
it.
feeling the pressure, but I wrote down a note if nobody can find it here that I will find it, and I think we should definitely do this.
It'd be
I'm
super
already
fun.
so excited.
Yeah.
So
I'm down.
excited.
See, I told you Matt would be in.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Well, guys, there's a great brewery down there we can go to. Just kidding.
I'm sure there is, right? There's got to be a good brewery in Raleigh, right?
We can stop in Richmond on our way to Raleigh and go to.
Absolutely. Yeah.
All
I'm sure
right,
we can
here
rope
it is,
Hannah in.
July 29th. Tentatively mark your calendars.
Oh my God. Do you know what day that is?
I do.
Is that
Do you
Stella's
know how to
birthday?
work a
I do.
calendar?
Yeah, I'd say that's Stella's birthday.
It's
Yeah.
Stella's birthday. Yep.
No, really?
What day of the week is it on?
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
It's a Friday.
Friday.
Yeah.
It's a Friday. Okay. It's not out of the question.
When's her bedtime? Because it's at 7:30.
Well,
It's her birthday. She can stay up late. She's
Yeah,
gonna
and-
party that night.
yeah, it'll change between now and then. It'll get
Wait, is
it'll
she
get a little
turning-
bit later
Is she turning 3?
too.
2. Oh my God, so cute.
Yeah.
Yeah. So okay, cool. All right. Well, we at least have the date so we can start talking about it. Everyone is so excited who's listening to this podcast. They want to know: are we getting together? Are we going?
That's right. Is this soccer game gonna happen in 4 months? Are they gonna go? We need to find out next week.
We could just drop
Tune
like
in
little
next week for
nuggets
the
every
conclusion
podcast
of-
episode.
Yeah.
Soccer, son. No, I can't even think of it.
The
Yeah, there's gotta
suspense
be
is
better.
killing them.
Yeah.
That's gonna bring people back every week. Is the details of this hangout.
Yep, exactly.
So good.
Well, guys, I don't know what else I can enlighten you with. Not that I ever am enlightening when I come on here, but
Oh,
I
come
don't have
on.
much to contribute by way of beer or baseball. That's
Well,
it.
baseball's back, so we're just happy.
Yeah,
about
we're
I
it.
just
know. I'm
happy.
so happy that you guys are happy. You were definitely the first people I thought about when I saw that baseball was back.
Yeah.
Maybe
I guess that's
Ethan
a
and
positive thing.
Ethan and I will go to a Nationals game too.
Yeah, that would be amazing. I didn't get a chance to go yet since I moved here because COVID hit too soon. So it's definitely on the list.
Amazing.
Yeah, so that'd be really fun.
All right. Well, I'll leave you guys to your banter.
Sweet.
It is, as always, it is a pleasure, and I look forward to hopefully, cross my fingers, getting another invite in the near future, and if not, seeing you guys in North Carolina in 4 months.
You're always invited. You've got the link. Just pop in if you want.
Anytime you
can
want.
Zoom bomb us too.
Zoom bomb, yeah.
That'll be fun.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Have a good rest of the pod. I will
Thanks,
talk to you
Hannah.
soon.
Thanks,
Bye.
Anna.
Bye.
All right.
I tell her that all the time too. I'm like, just literally just click on the link. I don't care. You don't have to tell me. Just hop
Just
in.
come on, yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Well, so speaking of the link and speaking of the invite, I finally got a guest to the show tonight.
Hey.
Wait. Before you get any further,
Yes, he's finally got the soundboard back. There he is. Look at this guy. So we're gonna have to delay our baseball talk for a bit because I've got my oldest friend from college. I don't know if we want to call him a masochist for being a Cleveland sports fan or not. I was trying to think all day of a good analogy to come up with, and the best I could do was Cedar Point is an hour down the road from Cleveland, and it's full of roller coasters, and there's no better way to describe life as a Cleveland sports fan than roller coaster of highs and lows. And more often than not, usually like there's one roller coaster that sometimes doesn't even make it over the top and it goes backwards and sets up. And I think that's probably my best way to describe Cleveland sports, because you just got to live there. You got to know someone who just loves Cleveland sports, just to see them get all excited and then have their hopes and dreams dashed one way or the other. So that being said, that's my terrible, crummy introduction for Matt Seemiller, Cleveland sports aficionado, the guy responsible for getting me into Premier League soccer, the guy who's educated me on numerous things in terms of what it means to be a Cleveland sports fan, and why to this day I still immediately in my mind think Ratbird when someone says the word Baltimore Ravens. So Matt, I wanted to bring you on. I told the guys we really needed to go through this Deshaun Watson stuff.
Ooh, yeah.
Wow.
Ooh, nice and light to start everything out.
Oh,
wow.
Yeah.
Wait,
I mean,
so you did this to him? No, I'm assuming, Matt, you're a Browns fan then?
Yeah. So
Oh, man.
just to finish Root's analogy, the Cedar Point one's good. That's great. I would say it's closer to you walk up to a door and on the door is a sign that says free ice cream, and you think, awesome. So you open the door and instead there's just a kid with a baseball bat and he hits you right in the face. So you close the door. But then you're stupid enough to go, oh, free ice cream. And you just keep doing this every single time. That's Cleveland sports. We think, oh, the Browns, we got Baker and OBJ. We're going to do great this year. And then we Browns it. And now we're just continuing the same cycle. So while some people are pumped that we have Deshaun Watson, I mean, he's gonna tear every ligament in both of his knees and be useless. And whatever other free agent signings we get, they'll probably do the same thing. It'll be like one horrible collision on the 50-yard line where they just all lose a leg, and then there won't be a team left. So that's usually how it goes.
But the reaction I've got from a lot of people in Cleveland this year has been, if that happened, they wouldn't be too upset. Which is kind of a change, because normally there's this like budding like suspense building. Everyone gets so excited about the draft. I mean, that's why they held the draft in Cleveland a couple of years ago, because everyone's like, Cleveland gets so amped up for like the tiniest of little tidbits of news or like the tiniest little bits of development on the team. Like the guys will analyze it 5 times over and get excited about it. And now though, like I just, the number of people who, and I don't know if this is true or not, but said that they're going to walk away from football for a couple of years has been pretty high. And I feel like there's more teeth behind it this time. So I guess, what's your personal thoughts on Watson? And if that's too pointed, you can just speak nebulously, but I wanted your hot take on that really quickly.
Yeah. So, I mean, the hot take of it is, I think what he's been accused of makes him a monster. And I believe the 22 women that have all said,
right,
he's
22.
a monster. And that's all there is to it. And so, yeah, he's not going to be criminally charged with anything. And he's been, for some reason, rewarded with a gigantic guaranteed contract.
The biggest in history, isn't it?
230 million.
230,
Yeah, it's
biggest
fully
in NFL
guaranteed.
history.
I don't believe they've ever had a fully guaranteed contract in the NFL,
Yeah.
especially not of this size.
Yeah, with
And-
that $1 million
Exactly.
Yeah.
For the first
this
year.
season, when
The
they're
fun
pretty
little
sure he's going to
accounting
get
they'll do
suspended.
to
Yep.
make sure that he gets all of his money no matter what.
Yeah,
Yeah.
fucking insane.
For them to do all of that to reward him for this, the idea that he somehow earned it is preposterous. Also, along with that, this is a guy who could have, and I want to make sure that I phrase this correctly, he could have kind of made this all go away very early. There were a couple of lawsuits that were going to happen that he could have settled with them to make it very quiet. If he does that, chances are a lot of accusers don't feel the need to come forward or don't feel safe to come forward. This just never blooms into this. He doesn't do that, most likely because he doesn't think he's done anything wrong, which is scary enough to think about, that he thinks he can just do this and all of this is fine. Now he's been rewarded for that. Why the Browns think that now he's some changed man and that this isn't going to be the case moving forward, he's not going to continue to do this or even worse, escalate, that part I don't understand. Unless for some reason they think that there are 22 women who have gotten together to make some kind of conspiracy against Deshaun Watson so that they can destroy their own names and lives and careers for no reason whatsoever, maybe to get a few $100,000, which in the grand scheme of things wouldn't do anything for them anyway. So either that's the largest conspiracy ever against an NFL player or a celebrity that we've ever seen in our entire lives, which is highly unlikely, or they're all telling the truth. He's a horrible person. He hasn't learned anything from this. And now we've given him a lot more money and told him you're not going anywhere for 5 years.
Yeah.
How they think that's going to work out for them, I'm not entirely sure. They clearly think, well, if he just wins some football games, that everyone will come back and be fine. Yeah. And a lot of people will. There's plenty of fans that are going to be absolutely fine with that. And there's going to be some fans that can't stand this, but are addicted to the Browns and can't get away from them. I'm personally scared that I'm going to be one of those people. I don't want to have to root for the Browns. I don't want to have to root for that guy. But on that first Sunday after Labor Day at 1:00, it's going to be really tough to not watch this team I've spent basically my entire life rooting for.
Yeah.
And that really sucks. It really sucks that they did that to me because they didn't have to. They could have just stuck with Baker Mayfield, who they did dirty anyway. Or they could have done something else, literally anything else. They could have just cut Baker Mayfield and had Case Keenum play a year and been terrible and tried to draft a new quarterback. It's not like we haven't seen them do that before. They do that every year. That's just the cycle of Cleveland football. But instead, they decided to sell their souls. And I hate it. I can't stand any of it.
Yeah, the contract structure, it's unfortunate because to me that makes the Browns complicit and all, and it just like, and part of me actually thinks that they're not going to let Baker go anywhere on this last year of the deal because they know Deshaun's going to be suspended, so they're gonna hang on to Baker and do him dirty for another year. And I kind of hope that he plays his fucking lights out, excuse my French, and makes them look like idiots because, you know, I mean, you can dissect up and down his last couple of years in Cleveland. But I'd say since I've lived in Cleveland, he's probably the best quarterback the Browns have had.
Oh, for sure.
And he liked the city and he was part of the city. You know, he wasn't Johnny Football, I'm going to go to Vegas every weekend. You know, I mean, I guess there was other. I mean, the list of Cleveland quarterbacks in the past 10 years is huge, and there's many of other guys who have loved the city too. Whether you want to go with that guy from the Hoyer, if you want to go with Hoyer, if you want to go with Campbell, if you want to go with Seneca Wallace, I don't know. I'm trying to think of all the names that have played for Cleveland in the past 10 years.
Charlie Fry was always my favorite name.
But you know, it's a shame. And like you said, whether or not he's the answer at quarterback, I don't know. I don't think he is, but it just to see their kind of series of actions there is pretty damn disappointing. And the other thing I want to bring up that I read the headline, but I didn't realize the meat of it until you mentioned it earlier today. So Cleveland, the Browns claim they did their research. And Matt, what did that research not involve?
It didn't involve speaking to any of the women that are accusing him or their lawyer. They didn't do any research whatsoever into what actually happened. They spoke to, my guess is they spoke to him to try and convince him to come to Cleveland, his agent in order to make the deal, and probably to Roger Goodell to find out what the suspension's actually going to be.
Yeah.
That's because no one's
Yeah.
going to make that deal if Roger Goodell says, well, we're going to throw him out of the league.
Right.
And they're not going to make that deal if they don't know what's going to happen. So chances are they have a pretty good idea as to what's going to happen, that it's probably going to be somewhere in the span of either the full 17 games or some, 8-10 games, whatever it is. Because they can look back to like the Ben Roethlisberger thing and use that as kind of an example. I believe he got 6 games, but it got cut down to 4.
Yeah, he appealed down to 4.
They'll probably hit him with something large, maybe do the whole season, and it'll actually be 10 or 12 games. At which point, the season for them is lost anyway, so may as well just suspend him for the whole year. What does it matter? But that's what the we did our due diligence looks like. Is how is this going to affect us? How can we put ourselves in the best spot possible? And don't give me any bad news. I don't want to hear it.
So that I guess my thought for a lot of Cleveland fans has been like, well, go Guardians, maybe, or hey, the Cavs are going to make the playoffs, right? Like, yay!
We'll make the playoffs, and I think as of right now, we should get bounced pretty quickly by the Milwaukee Bucks.
Damn.
Here's your reward for a great season, Giannis.
Giannis, yeah.
Oh man. Well, are you optimistic at all for the baseball season, or you think it's going to be another? I mean, Tito's had like a winning season every full season he's been there, so he's worked some magic.
Yeah. Usually he has a right and left fielder that he can put in the lineup. Currently, that looks like it's going to be Oscar Mercado and Bradley Zimmer. You guys might not know who they are. People in Cleveland don't know who they are. Bradley Zimmer's just a very tall man who runs relatively quickly because he's so tall. He can't hit the ball further than about 200 feet. Oscar Mercado is just a smaller version of that, which isn't helpful either. If you don't have like 9 guys in your lineup, if you really only have 7, it's not usually a great recipe for success. So I don't think that's going to work out for them.
The Cleveland playbook, I think, is going to happen. I think it's going to be, you guys are going to have a middling first half of the year. You're going to get up into contention in mid-August, and then you're going to trade Shane Bieber, and poof.
I think the White Sox are going to run away with that division.
They would have to get a really, really good package to trade away Shane Bieber in, I believe it's his first year of arbitration this year.
Oh yeah.
So I don't envision that happening that quickly.
Okay, he's got to win the Cy Young first.
If they do, then Ramirez is gone. There's going to be, I would imagine, a fire sale of sorts, because they've got a decent building block to a team that a lot of GMs would actually turn into like a decent team. But the Dolans just don't want to spend any money on these guys. And so the decent building block of the team is going to stay just that. And we'll just be watching baseball in October from home.
Well, and that's the shame is Ethan and Colin, we went on a billionaire baseball owner rant a couple weeks ago, and the Dolans had the money. I didn't realize that.
Oh yeah,
they're one of the richest families in the whole league.
Yeah.
Do you want to know what the discrepancies are in payrolls?
Yeah. Do it.
Top 3 payrolls in baseball as of yesterday. The Dodgers, 270 million, 158,000. The Mets, 249 million, 99,000. Yankees, 235 million, 940,000. That's the top 3. The bottom 3, starting with your Guardians, 35.6 million.
Unbelievable.
The Pirates, 35.2 million. And the Orioles at dead last, 30.3 million.
Yeah, so
Fucking
for the
shameful.
price of 1 year of Garrett Cole, you can get yourself the Cleveland Guardians.
Yeah.
I mean, isn't Francisco Lindor going to make $30 million this year?
I'm sure.
Like
Yeah.
the guy we traded is going to make our payroll
Yeah.
in a year and be better than our entire team combined.
Just
Like
horrendous.
I mean, it's incredible.
And then again, that's a guy who he spent his last 3 years in Cleveland saying, "I want to stay. I like it
Yeah.
here."
Yeah.
You know, you've got Tito, who's such a part of the fabric. He rides his Vespa around downtown and hangs out with people. Like, you know, you've got people who love the city and love the fans, and yet like it's like, all right, see ya. You're a trade chip, or you know, thanks for 3 good years of arbitration. Goodbye.
And they want to complain that it's the attendance, but that's disingenuous. The ticket prices are too high for a Cleveland income to begin with. So you're not going to get a large portion of Cleveland to be able to go to these games anyway. But also, they consistently have one of the best viewerships on TV across the country of any of the teams. The fans exist, and they're giving them the money the way they actually want to, because those TV deals always just get bigger. And
Yep.
that's where they get their money from. They're not getting their money on a Tuesday night when, you know, whoever comes to town because they're going to play the, you know, Detroit Tigers, whatever. That there's no money there. The money comes from the hundreds of millions of dollars they get from their TV revenue.
Mhm.
But they don't want to say that. They just want to be able to say, oh, well, you know, we can only ever get 15,000 people to come to our games, and so we can't spend any of this money. And none of that's accurate.
Well, and you remember, was it like 5 or 6 years ago when they did the first renovation and they made the city's neighborhoods food area, where like each area was a different neighborhood of the city, which is cool. And then they made this giant bar in right field. And
Oh, yeah,
for $15, you could get a craft beer and admission to the game for a standing room only bar area. And that thing was packed every damn night. So like Matt said, they had the, like, they figured it out. We could get people here. Just let's make them incentivized to come. But I mean, I think if you're buying a beer in that area in general, it's like $14. So basically admission is like $1.
Right.
But still, like, it was disappointing. It was disappointing to see it worked for them and they still didn't continue with it. What do you got, Ethan?
I'm just curious, you know, talking about this attendance thing and how the Dolans are using this as an excuse. We'd have to look it up. I'm just curious what the numbers are, and I'm curious if guest Matt knows, being a lifelong Cleveland fan. Imagine the mid-late 90s Indians at the time. Manny, Tomei, Vizquel, Lofton, those teams that were amazing. The last team to score 1,000 runs in a season. Was attendance that big of an issue back then? Like, I find that hard to believe. They probably had no problem drawing fans. Like, if you put a good product on the field, you'll get people. I mean, the pricing thing, I'm sure, can be an issue, right? But like, if you put a really good product on, like, people are gonna fucking show up.
Well, yeah, Ethan. Well, Matt, do you want to give the fact, or do you want me to?
What is it? 455, I believe, is the number they have retired up in the not rafters because it's baseball. 455 straight games they sold out at home.
I feel like Matt may have told me that sometime. Matt Root may have told me that at one point. Yeah. Okay. So there you go. Okay.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I figured.
And part of that's just baseball, right? Like those teams, you've got Manny, you've got Tomei, you've got Albert Bell, guys just beating the crap out of the baseball. And it's fun. It's just fun to get to watch that. And you'll get that at times with baseball, but like, do you really get that around the league anymore?
No.
Or, I mean, you didn't really get it before then. You got it a little bit with the 90s just through the steroids because that was just fun to watch. And then they got rid of that, you know, for the health of the players, as they claim. And that now, when you could get some fun back, when you've got a guy like Fernando Tatis, right? He's a lot of fun to get to watch. He plays with a lot of passion, a lot of energy. He's really, really good. And when he throws the bat in the air because he just hit a crazy home run in the 9th inning, the next game he gets beamed. And it's like, what do you guys want to happen here? Do you want the game to be fun and for the fans to be excited and for them to want to come back tomorrow? Or do we want to say, no fun here. Can't have any fun at all. If you show too much emotion, we're going to get really angry at you guys. And now Fernando Tatis has to be like, well, if I do something really good at a really important time, I should like take a bow, I guess, maybe apologize to the pitcher. I don't understand how that works, and how you're also then going to complain that no one wants to come to the games.
I want more Korean baseball style bat flips for just like grounders up the middle, you know.
even just the World Baseball Classic, when you saw a various amount of teams from Central America, and they would show the fans in the stands, and it was a party. It was a fun time. They wanted all to be there. And when it was the US, it was just so sad looking. They would, yeah, exactly. They would show the fans, and it was just, oh yeah, I guess we're here watching a baseball game. Hopefully we win. Good job, team. And it's like, well, who wants to go to that? People want to go to like an NBA game because they have fire shooting off everywhere. They're constantly throwing things into the stands, and it just feels like a fun atmosphere. But when you go to a baseball game, it kind of feels like a funeral for the game.
Yeah.
And now they're shocked that the game is dying. It just doesn't make much sense.
Yeah. And you're talking about two different things. You're talking about on-field action, and you're talking about like pumped in noise from the PA system, and like how you could just like get the crowd more involved. And Aaron Hicks, the Yankees often injured center fielder, was on R2C2 last week, and he played in the DR this past winter. And he was talking about how during his entire at bat, they played his walk-up song. Like they turned it off like when the pitch was coming, but as soon as the pitch was by and in the catcher's mitt, the song came back on. And he was like, the crowd just was like loving it. I forget what the song was or whatever, but he was like, I want to do this at Yankee Stadium, you know, and everything. And like, of course, that's never going to happen. Like like you said, it's got to be dead silent. And, you know, some places like at Wrigley, I'm sure they're still playing the organ and whatnot. But like in basketball, they play music Steph Curry's walking up the court, getting ready to hit a half court three, and they're playing some pump up music. It doesn't bother him. Like he can still make the shot. Like it's crazy to me.
Yeah. And when baseball is closer to golf than it is to anything else, then you've got a problem.
Yeah.
Really? Yeah.
Especially since, I mean, you've got 162 games in the regular season. Like the postseason is fine. Everybody likes to watch postseason baseball. There's a lot at stake. It often feels extremely tense every single pitch. But on a Wednesday night in July, when it's the Guardians versus the Tigers, it's not that tense. There's not a lot riding on this. It's one game of 162. If you make that feel like a party, like it's fun, if you're playing music constantly, if it feels like you're part of something rather than in this weird empty cathedral, then it would be more fun and you could have more people want to go. And you wouldn't have the problem of, I'd go, but my 8-year-old is bored.
Yeah.
When we go see these games, they want to leave in the middle of the second inning because this is boring.
Yeah.
Just stop making it boring. You can't make the game not boring. Baseball's kind of boring, like as a, an event. But if you put a bunch of stuff around it that made it not feel boring, then the other stuff starts to feel more fun too. And it's because they have a bunch of old people that don't understand any of that running this stuff.
Or don't care.
Like, that's just the easiest way to fix it is try and have more fun every once in a while.
Yeah. And Matt, there's actually a blueprint out there, and it's something I'd like to do. We've talked about this, but have you ever heard of the Savannah Bananas?
Yes.
Like that is, it's like less than minor league baseball in Savannah, Georgia, and there you can't get a ticket, like because it's fun and everyone enjoys being there, and they do goofy stuff. And they have giveaways, and it's a party atmosphere. Like I want to go to Savannah to see an independent league baseball game. Like what the hell? And I don't even I think I could probably convince these guys to go to Savannah with me before I could convince them to go to like Tampa Bay with me.
Tropicana, yeah, exactly.
I really want to go to the Trop to see game, and they always make fun of me for it. So
yeah. If you pay for everything, I'm in.
Same.
Yeah.
I'll give you some beer. How about that?
Beer plus a hotel room and a flight.
Yeah, I think they're going to stick to the everything portion.
Shit.
You're going to convince somebody to go to Tampa to see the Rays at Tropicana. I don't know that you're going to get them to pay for that.
What's the other thing Tampa's known for? Scientologist. So
Oh, I didn't know that. That's hilarious. But but that's like not to go off on another tangent here or anything, but like that's also a problem. Like we're joking about this, but that's a huge problem. The fact that like Colin and I are both kind of serious, and guest Matt is kind of serious when he says that like we're being serious, like that we would not go. We are diehard fucking baseball fans, bigger baseball fans than 99.9% of the population, and we don't want to go. We would not. You would have to pay for us, like you, anybody, whatever, to go and see a major league team that's actually really good, a team that has been consistently really, really good for years on a tiny payroll, right? Beyond all reasoning. And we don't want to go. We wouldn't want to go. Like that's a huge problem, right? Like I don't know if that I don't know if there's an analogous example like in the NFL or the NBA. Is there like some really shit team, shit city, shit fandom where like a huge fan would say, no, I don't want to do that. Like we should want to go as diehard baseball fans. We should be like jumping out of our seats and be like, yeah, I want to go to every fucking park, every team. But like Tampa, because the Trop is famously bad and the fandom is like famously not there, like I'm like, do I really want to spend my money to do? That's a problem. That's like not good. And that speaks to what guest Matt was talking about with what Major League Baseball is, you know, some of the things that they're, some of the many things that they're fucking up, you know, and it bums me out.
Well, I don't want to keep Matt too long because he is an older man and it is his bedtime. But I am enjoying this, so we're definitely gonna have to have Matt back.
Yeah.
Other thing, Matt, we'll have to get you get a mug now. You get a complimentary
Oh, I
two
get a
jocks and a
mug?
schlub mug. Yeah.
Ooh.
So every guest gets one that'll be coming your way. But I wanted to end with a story since Colin loves A-Rod so much.
Oh,
Of the
boy.
first time I ever spent the night at Matt's house and
Oh.
so it's the Yankees playing the Indians that night on TV.
No, it was the Twins because it was playoff baseball.
Okay. And Matt
Was it
said
2009?
it might have been that summer.
Either
Yeah,
08 or 09.
Yeah. So anyway, we're in Matt's basement with his dad Mark, probably drinking a Lion and Kugel shandy, you know, relaxing, watching the game. And A-Rod comes up. And I think at this point we were in the other room or around the corner, but all you hear is hit him in the ear hole. And like I think Matt sticks his head out around and is like looking and laughing, like, you know, Matt's an Yankees fan, and like Mark looks at me and then looks back, hit him in the ear hole. It was a good time. It was lots of fun. That's how I got to glimpse into what non-Yankees fans think of the Yankees. And, it's always fun. So,
Especially A-Rod.
It's not just Boston that hates you guys.
yeah.
It's everybody. Everybody hates the goddamn Yankees.
So true. When we had a friend of the pod, Joe Poznansky, on, he saw when Matt was in his normal room, he has his Yankee thing in the back, and he's like, "You guys have to live with that burden."
Yeah. He's like, or like that can't be helped, or we have to endure that. Something. It was very funny. Yeah.
So yeah, Matt, you're now the second most famous person who's a Cleveland sports fan we've had on the show.
I will take that.
Yeah. Right.
But hey, I appreciate you coming on, and we're definitely going to get you back on for more Cleveland commentary in the future.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Thanks,
Thanks,
guys.
Matt. Thanks very much.
Thanks, Matt. That was good.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Yeah. Great job, host Matt, getting guest Matt. He was awesome. That was really
Yeah.
excellent.
So the reason I like Matt the best is because he can riff off Ethan type rants,
Yeah.
but like with just absurdities, and like Ethan has anger there. Matt Seemiller just has absurdities there that by the end of it, either he or the audience is just laughing and crying. My favorite one, and I wish I could remember the context of it, but Matt was probably ranting for a good 5 minutes, and the rant just ends with Matt screaming, "And you can write it on my tombstone, quote, God damn the perfect brownie." And like, I can't tell you how he got there, but I can tell you he probably spent a good 5 minutes laughing and crying after that. So
That's great.
I don't know where to go with that. So
yeah, and his everything he had to say on Deshaun Watson, I thought was really, really fascinating to hear. And I know we got to wrap it up here in these next couple minutes, so I don't know that we should dig into that more. It might be interesting to dig into it more, because I'd be curious to hear what you guys got to say. So maybe we do that next week. But that was really, really cool, really interesting to hear what he had to say on that.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that was really good.
Yeah, he distracted me because there was definitely other baseball news. We'll have to talk next
there's
week
a ton.
about
Yeah.
Tons of baseball news. And do you guys see? I wanted to dig into the USFL proposed rule changes that they were talking about for spring football coming up. So a lot of really interesting stuff. But I felt like I finally got Matt to come on, and I think he is the epitome of the Cleveland sports fan, and I thought it was good to have him comment on that whole thing.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that was good. We'll go back to the three very best friends next week, and we'll dive into everything. Actually, I have a really good idea though for a way to end this. So, Ethan, before you had hopped on, I was telling Matt we got some recent feedback from a fan. Actually, okay, two things. These will be really quick. First, there's a question that came through the mailbag today. This comes from Brother Dan. What's going to be greater? Number of combined home runs from Judge and Stanton, or the number of games played this season by Hicks?
Oh, hilarious. Oh, wow. You know what? That's okay, Brother Dan, props. That's an amazing question. And that is like right in the sweet spot where it's like really, really hard to say confidently.
Yeah.
That's really excellent.
So for context, why they're thinking, Aaron Hicks, Yankee center fielder, often injured, as I mentioned a little earlier ago, probably has only played 120 games like once or twice in his career, 162 game season. So it's pretty rare. He only played about 20 games last year before he had season ending wrist surgery. So he's coming back from that. And Judge and Stanton had really good seasons last year, probably hit combined 60, 70 homers between.
But Stanton is often injured. Judge has had his share.
Yeah. But they both were healthy last year when Hicks wasn't. So if you pick the over for Judge and Stanton last year, you would have won.
Yeah. I'm going to say homers. Makes me sad because I want Hicks to be healthy, but I'm going to say homers.
I'm going to say games. I'm going to go with Hicks and games.
Same.
All right. I hope that Matt is right. I hope Matt and Colin, I hope you guys are both right.
Yeah.
That's a really good question.
Yeah. I just heard Hicksy on R2C2, and it just made me have more of an appreciation for him as a person. Like he's he cares a lot. It seems like he is trying to play a little bit differently this year too. Like stop trying to hit fucking home runs every single time up, and spray the ball like he used to in Minnesota, and use his speed to his advantage and steal some bases and things like that. And as soon as he went down last year, I mean, I wasn't the first to say it and I didn't come up with it, but the athleticism that went away from that team, not just his switch hitting, but because he has speed, because he has a great arm, because he does have power, he can hit for average. He's not a Willie Mays, but like, he's one of the more athletic guys on the team, and they really need him to stay healthy this year. So I think he probably did all he could in the offseason to ensure that he can stay as healthy as possible.
Yeah, he needs to be known as more than just, he walks a lot.
Yeah, right.
He's got to be more than that.
He walks a lot.
He could have a Bernie Williams type season, like 98, like lead the league in hitting and have 25, 30 homers. He said that. He's like, I want to have 30 homers, 100 RBIs, have a high batting average, 30 stolen bases. And it's like, good for you, dude. Like,
go for it. Go for those. That's the only way you can even approach it, right? Is by trying to get after those. Yeah.
All right. So back to how we'll wrap this up. I was telling Matt before you hopped on, Ethan, we got some feedback from a fan, and I'll share your feedback from this fan in the next episode. But one of the things that they said that they really enjoyed was like learning a little bit more about us and like who we are and things that we like. And I mean, obviously they know baseball and beer and the things that we talk about on a pretty regular basis. I got this feedback the day after I was playing with my iPod Touch because Stella plays with it. And one of the random things that came up was the first iteration of an intro I put together for this podcast when we first started talking about it. And I looked at the date. It was November of 2017. That was how long ago was the first time that we like legitimately talked about doing this. And we had like that practice session on Skype, and we're like, all right, we're going to do it. And then life got in the way, and we didn't end up doing it for another, 4 years and change. But I wanted to give some context into how long this podcast had been brewing. and I took the recording, and I'm going to play it for everyone to end this podcast. So if you guys have any shout outs, if you want to say goodbye, otherwise I'm going to run this. It's about a minute long, and then we'll hit end.
Run it. Sounds good.
Yeah, run it. Send it.
Cristino, 1 on, 2 out, pitch is swung on and drilled, the deep right center, it is high, it is far, it is gone! The Bambino, with 2 outs in the bottom of the ninth, he drills a game-time 2-run home run.
Heinrich starts inside, goes outside, Heinrich gets it, Heinrich puts up the shot, it's too long, and Syracuse is your national champion!
The final snap of Super Bowl 45. The Green Bay Packers have won the Super Bowl.
Ryan looking. Artest, that's a three. Bang! Lakers by 6 with a minute to play.
Manning lobs it. Boris alone. Touchdown, New York. Another chance to the left side. Hayes waits. The Yankees are champions of baseball.
Barkley, off and running, Saquon Barkley,